Chapter 3059. China Military Hospital. As soon as Rick got off the plane, he and Cece went to the military hospital to see Qin Chu. Su Yu came after hearing the news. When he arrived, Rick had been in the ward for a long time. Maybe because he was in a bad mood, Rick was alone with Qin Chu. Cece was outside the door with the bodyguards Rick brought. Cece sat there with 2 white bodyguards standing behind her. President Su. Seeing Su Yu, Cece stood up. "Where's Rick?" "He's inside." "How long have you been here?" "About half an hour. We came as soon as we got off the plane." Cece said, "I'll go in and take a look. Have a seat first." Cece nodded. Su Yu pushed open the door and went in. He saw Rick sitting beside Qin Chu's bed. Knowing that they were very close, it was normal for Rick to be upset. Seeing Su Yu come in, Rick stood up and nodded. "I heard they've found someone to operate on him." "Yes, a mysterious old man," Su Yu answered honestly. "Mysterious old man?" Rick was also puzzled when he heard this. Pudding agrees with that old man. "He's very mysterious and I can't find any information about him. But based on my intuition, he's not a bad person. I believe he can wake Qin Chu up. Do you have a picture of him?" Rick asked. "Yes." Su Yu took out his phone. He had taken a picture of the old man and wanted to investigate him, but he didn't find anything. Rick took the phone and glanced at it. His expression changed. "You know him?" Su Yu saw the subtle change in Rick's expression and immediately asked. "His identity is indeed special. But since someone doesn't want you to know, it's better that you don't know." Su Yu, they were all so mysterious. Su Yu had enough. "However, I can tell you with certainty that this person will definitely be able to save Qin Chu. If even you trust him so much, then I'm even more curious about his identity. It seems like Pudding knows, you know, and the old man knows as well. I'm the only one who doesn't know." Su Yu smiled. "Let's wait for Huamin to come back and let her talk to you personally. This matter does involve a lot of things and is very complicated. Is this old man related to Mian?" Su Yu was surprised again. Rick didn't reply. Instead, he walked over and pulled up Qin Chu's quilt. "I'll stay here for a few days until Qin Chu wakes up. I'll stay at the Kempinski Hotel. You can contact me if you need anything." "All right." Su Yu nodded. Then he immediately opened the door and walked out. After not seeing him for a few years, he was still so cool. It was as if he was the only one in the world who was the most awesome. However, Su Yu understood Rick's character, so he understood. "Are you done?" Cece stood up. "How's President Qin?" "He's okay," Rick said lightly. "I want to go back and see my family." "I'll drive you." Rick gently held Cece's hand. "No, can you have dinner with my family?" Cece asked carefully. Rick didn't expect this, so he froze for a second. "Of course, I won't force you if you don't want to. I know you don't like formalities. My family is actually quite simple." "Huh, it's just my parents and my sister. My sister took the day off and waited for me at home. She said my mom made my favorite sweet and sour fish." Cece chattered on, trying to hide her embarrassment and disappointment after being rejected by Rick. Chapter 3060. Let's go. Cece froze. "Let's go to your house for dinner," Rick repeated patiently. Then, Cece couldn't hide the ecstasy in her eyes. This guy actually agreed. He was the coolest guy in the world, and he actually agreed to have dinner with her family. Cece was just testing the waters and didn't expect Rick to agree so quickly. "Cece, yeah. These are small things. As long as you're happy, I'm willing to do them," Rick said. Was this Rick's confession? Cece suddenly felt that happiness had come so suddenly. She had been worried that after she got pregnant, they couldn't do intimate things and would be neglected. But not only did Rick not do that, but he took care of her even more carefully than before. During her time in the States, she wasn't very happy. After all, she wasn't familiar with the place. Rick was busy with something every day, and she didn't know what it was. So, most of the time, she stayed in the luxurious house, waiting for him to come back for dinner. Sometimes, he came back in the middle of the night and the food was cold. She fell asleep and woke up in the morning, but he left before she could make breakfast. Just like that, Cici lived a boring but persistent life as she waited day after day. She waited for Rick to dote on her more and more. This time, she came back to China because something happened to Qin Chu and Huamin. But for Cici, it was indeed a happy thing to be back. Rick took Cici back to Cici's home. Qin Ning's father arrived in the city not long after Rick and the others. Tang Chuan drove his black Rolls-Royce to greet his father-in-law like a lackey. Qin Ning wasn't feeling well and had menstrual cramps, so she waited for him at home. At the Sea City airport. "Father-in-law, please accept a bow from your son-in-law." When he saw Qin Ning's father, Tang Chuan hurriedly greeted him. "Don't be so fake, I don't like it. Where's Ning Ning?" Second Uncle Qin looked for his daughter as soon as he got off the plane. "Oh, Ning Ning isn't feeling well. She's resting at home." "Not feeling well? What's wrong?" "It's nothing serious, don't worry. It's just her period." "I'm not your father-in-law yet. You're not married to my daughter yet." "Don't call me that." Yes. "You're right, Uncle Qin." Tang Chuan nodded and bowed. Then, he took the initiative to help the old man carry his luggage, picked him up, and returned to Tang Chuan's villa. "How's Chu doing now?" Second Uncle Qin asked on the way. "Brother-in-law's condition is still considered stable. He can undergo surgery tomorrow. He should wake up after the surgery." "Where are my elder brother and sister-in-law?" "We've settled the two elders of the Qin family on Mount Yunding. They're far away from the trouble here, but we plan to bring them back for the operation tomorrow." "Yes, this arrangement is not bad. My brother's heart is not good, and his blood pressure is high. I'm afraid he won't be able to take it." This is what a son-in-law should do. After all, it's our family's business. Second Uncle Qin glanced at Tang Chuan indifferently. "I heard that you went back to work at Tangkor?" It's just temporary. I'm helping my father with some errands." "It's good to have a job. It's better than idling around. Ning Ning has been flying around the world with me since she was a teenager to attend board meetings. You should really learn from her. Although she's younger than you, she's definitely better at business management than you are." Yes. "Uncle Qin, you're right." Tang Chuan really didn't dare to offend this old man. "At South Hill Manor, Grandpa, do you think the colored liquid in this bottle can really help detoxify my daddy?" Little Bean stared at the small glass bottle and asked curiously. Chapter 3061. "You're asking because you don't believe me?" The professor chuckled. "No, I'm just curious. Kid, you're so smart." The professor rubbed Little Bean's head lovingly. In the past 2 days at South Hill Manor, the twins didn't feel bored following the old man around. Instead, they found it very interesting, especially Little Bean, who thought her grandpa knew a lot and knew everything. He could cook, cure diseases, study all kinds of interesting liquids, and do chemistry experiments. He could do magic and tell interesting stories about criminal psychology. There was nothing he couldn't do. Even when Su Yu offered to take her out for dessert, she refused and didn't want to leave the house. The professor hadn't lived such a peaceful life in a long time. Seeing his granddaughters day in and day out, his feelings for them gradually deepened, and he was even more reluctant to leave. "Grandpa, can you help me check if this equation is correct?" Pudding was doing exercises on her tablet. The professor walked over. Little Bean took the opportunity to dial Gao Buyuan's number. "Little Bean." "Buyuan, what are you doing?" "Watching cartoons." "You didn't even send me a WeChat message to watch cartoons. I despise you." "No, I thought something might happen to you, so I didn't. I don't want to hear your explanation." "Humph, a bag of seafood chips." "A bag of seafood chips." Gao Buyuan nodded repeatedly. "Where's Auntie Lingling?" "My mom's making soup in the kitchen." "Uncle Gao Ran is at home too?" "No, my dad's been busy. He must have a lot of things to do at the bureau." "By the way, Buyuan, I want to show you something." Little Bean carefully leaned over with her phone and shone the light on the glass bottle of colored liquid. "What's that?" Gao Buyuan leaned over curiously. "This thing is magical. If my dad eats it, he'll wake up. So powerful. Where did you get it?" "An immortal gave it to me." Little Bean chuckled. Liar. There's no immortal. Haha, it's good stuff. You can't buy it with money. Little Bean seemed to be in a good mood. As long as Uncle Chin wakes up, I hope he's safe. Yes. When Daddy wakes up, he can hug me and help us find Mommy. Little Bean, if you and Pudding are bored at home, I can ask my mom to drive you to my house. No, we're not bored. We're very interesting. When my daddy wakes up, I'll invite you over for a barbecue. Okay, should we wake Wei Yunchu up too? Gao Buyuan asked. That's my sister's problem. It's not within the scope of my concern. All right then. After the call with Gao Buyuan, Little Bean was still curiously looking at the small glass bottle. She could really wake her daddy up. It was too magical. Little Bean suddenly looked forward to it. Would Daddy wake up like the Sleeping Beauty in the fairy tale? Just thinking about it made him happy. On a deserted island overseas, Huamin had been pregnant for almost 3 months. She was very sleepy every day and was especially fond of sleeping. After she woke up, she opened the door and smelled a very fragrant smell from afar. Then she saw Huasiqian, who was shirtless and wearing beach shorts, setting up a shelf with a wooden fire under it. A lamb leg came out of nowhere. It looked ready to be eaten with fat flowing out. Hearing the sound of the door opening, Huasiqian turned his head and looked at Huamin with a gentle smile. How did you sleep? Chapter 3062. Huamin didn't answer. Instead, he walked over with a cold expression on his face. My people sent us a lot of meat. I saw a marinated lamb leg. I think you'll like it. Huasiqian, are you really going to stay here for the rest of your life? What's wrong with staying here for the rest of my life? Huasiqian asked back. Don't you want the whole corporation that you worked so hard to get? You have so many assets? And your empire? Don't you want them all? Do you want to be a fisherman here? Huamin deliberately provoked him. I've lived for so long, and I've always understood one thing. Money is just a worldly possession. I've never been obsessed with money or power. When I was abused as a child, I only wanted to protect myself and not be bullied when I grew up. You're such a hypocrite. Don't forget how many lives you've taken. Huamin laughed mockingly. I've never killed people for fun or boredom. I've always done it for a reason. Those who died by my hands were either against me or against you, just like Song Yisher. That bitch did so many bad things to you behind your back. Didn't she deserve to die? Even now, Huasiqian didn't think that he was wrong to kill people. He thought that he was punishing them on behalf of God. Fine, you're crazy. I won't argue with you. Then, Huamin turned around and walked towards the beach. Me, the lamb leg is ready. Sit down and eat. Eat by yourself, Huamin said bluntly. In front of Huasiqian, no matter how beautiful the scenery was or how delicious the food was, Huamin found it tasteless. She wanted to go home. She missed Qin Chu, the twins, her mother, Yixin, Suyu, Lingling, and Xiaowei. She missed all her friends in that city. She missed Yan even more. She missed her biological father, whom she hadn't had the chance to see. But, could she go back? She had no idea how long she would be imprisoned by Huasiqian. If it weren't for the baby in her belly, she might not have been able to hold on and would have broken down long ago. South Hill Manor ding dong, the doorbell rings. Little Bean immediately ran down to open the door. The moment she opened the door, she froze. Uncle Rick. Very good, you still remember me. Of course. You're so handsome. You're the most handsome man after my daddy and Suyu. Little Bean, are you obsessed with looks? Cece laughed. Auntie Cece, you're back too? Yes. Coming quickly. Big sister will be very happy to see you. Then, Little Bean turned around and shouted, Qin Zhao Zhao, look who's here to see us. Pudding put down her computer and stood up. Uncle Rick, Auntie Cece. Pudding was also surprised, but not as excited as Little Bean. I brought you some gifts. I bought them at Disneyland. You guys should like them, right? Cece handed the dolls to the sisters. Thank you, Auntie Cece. Who's here? You two look so happy. The professor walked downstairs. When he saw Rick, he was slightly surprised. Rick nodded at the professor, and the professor nodded back. Pudding, Little Bean, Can you take Auntie to your backyard? I heard you have Bulgarian roses. Auntie loves roses. No problem, I'll take you there. Little Bean took the lead. Cece took the opportunity to send the twins away, leaving only Rick and the professor in the living room. After the kids left, Rick spoke first. Professor, I didn't expect you to come in person. You know me? Professor Lu narrowed his eyes slightly. Chapter 3063. I've seen your photo before, Rick said in a low voice. I see. The professor smiled. It's great that you're here. I'm glad you're here. Xianxia will be saved. Rick knew what kind of person the professor was, so he knew what to do. Yes, that's not a problem for me. Professor, you're very powerful. You should be able to find Mion's whereabouts easily, right? No, I'm not. You don't have Mion's whereabouts either? Rick was surprised. Yen is still looking for her. That means Huasiqin really invested a lot this time. Even you can't find her, Rick said. That boy from the Hua family is very meticulous. He's very obsessed with my daughter, so it won't be easy to find her. He even dared to betray Ian. There's nothing he won't do. That's bad. Even if Xianxia wakes up and finds Mion's whereabouts, he'll be very sad. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do. We'll save as many as we can. Anyways, as long as Mion is safe, the kid from the Hua family won't hurt her. We'll find her one day, the professor said. Rick nodded and didn't say anything else. Middle East. Inside the cold storage, Ian and Lu Yen were still confronting each other. Ian didn't know what Journey to the West was or how it worked, but he knew that Lu Yen wasn't someone to be messed with. Ian held the anesthetic needle in his hand, but he didn't make a move on Lu Yen. Boss, this woman is doing it on purpose, right? We're so far away, shooting her with the anesthetic needle shouldn't hurt her, right? Ian's subordinate didn't want to give up, so he instigated his boss to attack Lu Yen. Ian didn't say anything. Lu Yen smiled and said, Kid, you seem to have forgotten how I blew up the branch in Indonesia. You have a mini-bomb? The people behind Ian retreated in fear. I have a lot of bombs like that. I carry them with me at all times. If you want to use the needle on me, I'll die with you. Baby, are you trying to scare me again? Ian smiled. If you don't believe me, you can ask Xiao Nan. He knows my tricks. Lu Yen closed her eyes and ignored these people. His expression was incomparably relaxed. In fact, he didn't seem to be afraid at all. Boss, this woman can't possibly have a miniature bomb on her, right? We shouldn't have trusted her. What do you know? She doesn't play by the rules. Ian frowned slightly. Then, 5 minutes later, Ian stood not far from Lu Yen, not daring to make a move. He could only watch from afar, not daring to get close. Lu Yen was surrounded by explosives and could be blown up if she wasn't careful. At this moment, footsteps came from outside the door. My lord, someone is coming. Oh no, maybe their reinforcements have arrived. Just as he finished speaking, a grenade was thrown into the room. There was a loud bang behind Ian and the others. Ian's subordinates covered Ian as he hurriedly left through the side door. They escaped with the help of the billowing smoke. Xiao Fei rushed in, carried Lu Yen out of the front door, and got into the car. Bastard, what took you so long? I was almost kidnapped by that psycho Ian. Lu Yen pinched Xiao Fei's face and scolded him. I'm sorry, Ian. Xiao Fei looked at the weak Lu Yen with heartache. Xiao Fei, I'm so hungry. I want to eat. Lu Yan's head tilted and she passed out. Yen. Xiao Fei was scared out of his wits. Chapter 3064. When Lu Yen woke up again, she was already in a private plane, tens of thousands of meters in the air. Below her was the vast ocean. Get me a glass of water. Lu Yen woke up weakly. You're awake? Xiao Fei walked over with a glass of water and sat on the big leather bed. Where are we? On the way to M country. I asked your doctor to treat your wounds. You can rest and recover. Lu Yen opened her eyes and looked around the private plane. Other than Xiao Fei, there were 4 other people in the plane, as well as a team doctor. The doctor was an Israeli. Lu Yen nodded. She sighed in relief and leaned against the back of the bed. Xiao Fei carefully picked up a pillow and placed it behind her back. We received news that Ian arrived at the cold storage 10 minutes ago. But for some reason he didn't do anything to you. Luckily, we arrived in time. We were worried that he would take you away. That's because he was scared. Lu Yan smiled. Xiao Fei, Lu Yan was the only person in the world who dared to say that Ian was scared. Ian was a murderous terrorist. How could he be scared? So, Xiao Fei thought that Lu Yan must have done something. Boss, did you play with bombs again? One of the female subordinates interrupted with a smile. Yeah, I drew a circle around myself with a bomb. Anyone who gets close will die. Lu Yan said. What about Ian? What's he scared of? What did you say to him? Xiao Fei was curious. What did Lu Yan do to make Ian not dare to do anything for 10 minutes? This wasn't his style. I told him not to act rashly. He might lose more than he could gain. That's it? Xiao Fei was surprised. Yeah, the more vague I was, the less confident he was. Ian is a very cautious person. I said that and pretended to be confident. He thought that I had a mini bomb with me that was as powerful as the one that blew up his Indonesia branch. If he used the tranquilizer needle, we would all die together. You have a mini bomb with you? Xiao Fei was surprised. He had been with Lu Yan for so long, but she didn't mention it. That little thing was very dangerous. It could blow up an area with a radius of several kilometers at any time. No, Lu Yan said confidently. Xiao Fei, so you were trying to scare Ian? Xiao Fei asked. Yes, I was stalling for time, waiting for you to come. Boss, you're really ruthless. You can even do this. What if someone finds out? A male subordinate was so scared that he cursed. Exposed? How could this be? My acting skills are Oscar-worthy. Lu Yan smiled smugly. But Ian isn't just anyone. Boss, you're really awesome. It's because he's Ian that I dare to say such nonsense. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't believe me. Xiao Fei, his subordinates, you guys come here. Lu Yan waved at her subordinates. His 4 subordinates, 3 men and 1 woman, walked over in an orderly manner and stood in a row. How's the investigation going? There's still no news about the first Mississippi? No news yet? How is that possible? How many days has it been? Wuxia hasn't shown up? No, he hasn't contacted Germany. Our people are closely monitoring Nalo and haven't found Wuxia. It's the same in the States. That's strange. Are the 2 living people really missing? Lu Yan was in a bad mood. Boss, there's news in China. What news? Lu Yan looked up. Chapter 3065. Your father is preparing for Mr. Qin's surgery. Lu Yan, I don't need you to tell me that. That's why the old man came back to China. Lu Yan was so angry that she wanted to curse. Her 4 subordinates lowered their heads and didn't dare to say a word. You've been with me for so long, but you're still so brainless. I'm so angry. Lu Yan turned her head. Young Master Xiao. Seeing their boss angry, her subordinates reminded Xiao Fei in a low voice. Xiao Fei was sensible and brought over a bowl of wontons from the side. Ahem. Yan, didn't you say you were hungry? I'm not hungry. I'm full from being angered by them. Lu Yan said in a huff. Wontons. Are you sure you don't want to eat them? Wontons? Where did you get them? Lu Yan immediately turned her head and saw the bowl of fragrant wontons in Xiao Fei's hand. Have a bite first and see how they taste. Xiao Fei picked up the bowl and fed Lu Yan a wonton with a small spoon. Although Lu Yan had been living abroad, she liked Chinese food the most. She liked all kinds of snacks, including Sichuan, Hunan, and Cantonese. Xiao Fei had been with her for a long time and knew her personality well. How is it? Seeing Lu Yan eat one, Xiao Fei asked tentatively. Psycho Xiao, where did you get it? Tell me first. Is it good? It's so delicious. Lu Yan impatiently snatched the small bowl from Xiao Fei's hand and began to eat. Be careful. It's hot. Eat slowly. No one will take it from you, Xiao Fei reminded her. At the same time, he waved his hand at Lu Yan's subordinates and asked them to leave quietly. Her subordinates immediately understood and left the inner cabin. Say, there's always someone to beat. I used to think that with our boss's bad temper, no one could control him. I didn't expect that young Master Qiao, who looks cold and quiet, would be our boss's nemesis. Of course. Young Master Qiao dotes on our boss. He betrayed his family for our boss. There aren't many men like him nowadays. Yeah. If I were our boss, I would have agreed to young Master Qiao's proposal. Forget it, let's not get involved. If the boss hears us, we'll be screwed. A few of his subordinates ran to the outer cabin to rest. Xiao Fei was taking care of Lu Yan. After finishing the bowl of wontons, Lu Yan wiped her mouth in satisfaction. Psycho Qiao, you still haven't told me where this thing came from? Did Zaire buy it in Chinatown in the Middle East? Lu Yan regretted it after she said that because it didn't taste like frozen ice cream. It seems that you won't believe me if I say I bought it. What did you say? You did it? Lu Yan was so surprised that she almost vomited blood. How do you know this? I learned it online. What about the noodles and meat fillings? I bought it from a supermarket in Chinatown. Fuck. I'm impressed. Lu Yan was completely convinced by Xiao Fei. You don't have to kneel. When you recover, you can consider sleeping with me. Xiao Fei said seriously. Sleeping with you? Don't think about it all day long. When you have time, help me find out where my sister is. I'm so anxious. Lu Yan leaned on Xiao Fei's shoulder and recovered while worrying about Huamin's whereabouts. In the hospital in Sea City, the corridor of the military hospital was full of people. Almost everyone was there. Before the professor walked in his white coat, he said to everyone, "Wait for my news." Then he followed Qin Chu into the operating room. Chapter 3066. Everyone waited anxiously outside the door. They were Qin Chu's parents, his second uncle, Qin Ning, and Tang Chuan. Ji Xin and his mother also came back from overseas. Jiang Xiaowei, Wei Liao, and their son. Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling, and their son. And Ai Yang and his wife also came early. Rick and Cece, who just came back from overseas, were also there. Su Yu, Lady Su, and the twins were standing closest to the door. Everyone was nervous, and the hallway suddenly quieted down. Everyone had a tacit understanding and remained silent. Sis, Daddy will wake up soon, right? Little Bean suddenly asked. Everyone's eyes turned toward Xiao Budian. Pudding was a woman of few words and only replied with one word. Don't worry, your daddy will get better. Su Yu touched Little Bean's head and comforted her. It's not easy for our Chu and Huamian. They're so young, but they have to go through so much trouble. God is so unfair. Lady Qin leaned on her husband's shoulder and covered her face as she cried. Annie, don't be sad. Big brother will be fine. When he gets better, he'll go find Mian. Qin Ning said. Yeah, my brother-in-law is a godlike man. He can do anything. He'll be fine. I don't know if this old man can save my son. I hope he can. Qin Chu's father also looked worried. Uncle Qin, the old man is a great doctor. Don't worry. No one knew the professor's identity, so it was normal for them to be worried. But Rick knew about it, so he reassured everyone. Rick, you seem to know as well. Gao Ran stood beside Rick and whispered. It's very complicated and can't be explained in 1 or 2 sentences. I'll tell you when Qin Chu wakes up. Gao Ran nodded and didn't ask any more questions. Little Bean, what's that in your hand? Gao Buyan walked over and asked. I made a strawberry cake myself. I'll give it to my daddy when he wakes up. Little Bean carefully held the cake. It was obvious that her little body was quite nervous. Just like that, time passed by. 2 hours later, the professor walked out with the assistant from the hospital. How is it? Everyone gathered around. Su Yu asked anxiously. The surgery went smoothly. First, the toxins in his body were dissolved. Then, the liver was repaired. The professor spoke clearly. That's great. Su Yu let out a sigh of relief. Everyone also became happy. Then, will we be able to see Qin Chu in a while? Gao Ran was also excited. That's hard to say. We'll have to see how he recovers. Maybe a few hours, maybe a day or two. So long. Chu's parents were a little disappointed. Now that the poison has been detoxified and the surgery has been done, it's only a matter of time before he wakes up. It won't take more than 3 days. Don't worry. The professor gave a time limit. I want to go in and be with Daddy. Then, before anyone could stop her, Little Bean rushed in with the cake. Come back, Little Bean. Pudding rushed in after her sister. Let the 2 kids in. Now that he's fine, they must be worried. But it's not good to have too many people. The rest of you should go in batches. It's better not to disturb him. Suyu nodded. Rick walked over and handed a white handkerchief to the professor. Thank you for your hard work. Don't mention it. It's my own business. The professor smiled lovingly. Hearing this, Suyu looked back at the professor curiously. When are you leaving? I'll arrange for someone to drive you, Rick said. Chapter 3067. No need. It's troublesome if there are too many people. I can go by myself. The professor looked at his watch. I asked them to book a flight in 3 hours. It seems like we'll be leaving soon. In such a hurry. In a hurry? I've been out for the longest time. The professor smiled. Yes, I understand. Rick nodded. Old man, you can't leave yet? Chu hasn't woken up yet, Suyu interrupted. Brat, do you want me to stay for the rest of my life? I'm afraid I won't work. Give me a commission. The professor looked at Suyu with a smile. To be honest, he quite liked this brainless young man. It was said that he liked Mion very, very much. He liked Huamion and the children very much. Commission? If it's about money, then it's easy. How much do you want? Name a price. Suyu said proudly. In Suyu's opinion, anything that could be solved with money was not a problem. So when he heard the old man talk about money, he was very happy. Brat, keep those 2 coins for yourself. Don't show them off. Old man, you're too arrogant. Imperial Star is a listed company. Although it's not the top company in the country, it's still a gathering of superstars. Conservatively speaking, it's worth more than 10 billion yuan. How can you say that my 2 coins are nothing? Are you stupid? Ha! The professor laughed, thinking that Suyu's way of speaking was very cute. Okay, I'm not going to talk nonsense with you here. I'm going to take a shower and change my clothes. I'll say goodbye to the 2 little ones. It's time to return them. Sir, about Mion? Rick wanted to ask if the professor didn't care about Mion's whereabouts. But before he could say it, the professor knew what he meant. So he replied, Yen will take care of that. I don't need to ask. Okay, I'll tell Chu when he wakes up, Rick said. Then, the professor turned and followed the hospital staff to take a shower and change clothes. Suyu quietly pulled Rick aside. What? Is that old man rich? Yes, very rich. Rick nodded. You're not lying to me, are you? Suyu obviously didn't believe it. Do you think I need to lie to you? What does he do for a living? If he's so rich, why haven't I seen him on TV or in the newspapers? Suyu thought that he must be a famous overseas Chinese tycoon. She should have seen him before. That's because he keeps a low profile, Rick explained. That's really low-key. In the ward, Pudding and Little Bean surrounded Chu. He had just finished the operation and had not taken off his oxygen mask yet. His complexion didn't look very good, and he was very weak. Grandpa said you'll wake up soon. Then you can eat the cake I made, Little Bean said as she held the cake in her hands. Daddy, you have to get better soon. Mommy is still waiting for you to find her. Sis, if we find Mommy this time, we have to kill the big bad guy, okay? Little Bean was angry at the thought of the man who kidnapped Mommy. Okay, let Daddy kill him. Pudding agreed with her little sister. After changing clothes, the professor came in to say goodbye to the twins. Pudding, Little Bean. He walked in. Grandpa, come here. Can you see if my daddy's blood pressure is high? Little Bean was making a fuss over nothing. You don't have to worry about that. The hospital has professionals to take care of him. The professor smiled. Grandpa, What are we having for lunch? No, I should ask, what are you going to make for us today? Little Bean held the professor's hand and asked happily. Chapter 3068. Pudding. Little Bean, come here. Grandpa has something to say. The professor sat down on the sofa in the ward and waved his hand. He called the twins over. Go ahead, Grandpa, Pudding said obediently. Your daddy's condition has stabilized and he'll wake up soon. So, at this point, the professor paused for a moment. Then, he looked at the twins with clear eyes and didn't have the heart to speak. Grandpa, so what? The impatient Little Bean was getting impatient. So, Grandpa has to go. No. As soon as the professor finished speaking, Little Bean immediately said no. Grandpa, where are you going? Pudding was more rational than her sister. Back to where I came from. No, Grandpa. I won't let you go. If you leave, I'll cry. Little Bean tried to scare the professor. The professor couldn't bear to see Little Bean and Pudding in his arms and kissed their foreheads. Grandpa, can you not go? Why don't you stay? When Daddy wakes up, he'll go find Mommy. Then, we'll be together as a family. We'll bring Andy back. Our South Hill Manor is big. We can live there, Pudding said. It's not about the house. It's complicated and I can't explain it to you. But it doesn't mean I don't love you. If you leave, it means you don't love us anymore. I don't want you to leave. I want you to make delicious food for me. As Little Bean spoke, tears began to fall from her eyes. Seeing this, the professor's heart ached. Little Bean, be a good girl. Don't cry, okay? If Grandpa leaves, I'll cry. Grandpa, you have to go. There's unfinished work. The professor tried to persuade his granddaughter. Grandpa, if you have to go, take Little Bean with you. Little Bean wants to go with Grandpa. Little Bean sat in the professor's arms and begged. The professor didn't know what to do. At his age, he had never taken care of a child. Lu Yen was raised on her own. At that time, he was busy with research and hiding from the evil organizations. He also had to investigate his wife, Linya. Huamin, on the other hand, grew up in someone else's arms. Therefore, in the face of the two children's pleas, the professor didn't know what to do. Grandpa, Little Bean, and I really like you. When Mommy and Daddy weren't home, you took care of us. We really don't want to lose you. Not really. It's not like I'm not coming back. When I'm done with the last thing, I'll come and see you, okay? No, don't give us false promises. We don't believe your stalling tactic, Little Bean said. But I really can't stay. In other words, if I stay, not only will you be in danger, but your father, his friends, and even everyone in this city will be in danger. The professor tried to explain the nature of his job. Grandpa, are you an alien? Little Bean asked in all seriousness. Professor, Pudding, are the people from your planet coming to pick you up? If you don't go back, are they going to destroy Earth? Little Bean continued to ask questions. The professor didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Grandpa, are you really not waiting for Mommy to come back? Don't you want to see her? I'm sure she really wants to see you, right? Pudding decided to change her strategy, which was different from Little Bean's clinginess. Chapter 3069. There are still many opportunities to see your Mommy. Now is not the best time. Trust me. If I stay now, I'll bring you trouble. But we're not afraid of trouble. Little Bean pouted. Looking at the troubled expression on her grandpa's face, Pudding had an answer. Everyone knew how her grandpa treated them these days. If it weren't for the situation, she believed her grandpa wouldn't have left so heartlessly. Grandpa, will you come to see us again? Pudding asked. Of course. You're my babies. The professor held them in each hand and placed them on his lap. He really didn't want to leave these two jokers. He smiled more when he was with them than he had in his previous life combined. Especially when he was from another generation. He felt more for his daughter's daughter than he did for his daughter. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many stories of grandpas and grandpas spoiling their grandchildren. Grandpa, you should go. I know you must have your reasons. Finally, Pudding decided not to bother her grandpa anymore. Auntie didn't say what Grandpa did for a living. Grandpa came and went mysteriously. Even handsome Sue's secret investigation didn't yield any results. Maybe Grandpa's job was special. Sis, are you crazy? How can you let Grandpa go? Little Bean looked at Pudding in surprise. Grandpa loves us. If he had a choice, he wouldn't want to leave. If it weren't for Daddy's illness, he probably wouldn't have come back, Pudding said. Pudding is absolutely right. The professor gave a thumbs up to his granddaughter, who had touched his heart. Auntie told me that she only sees Grandpa a few times a year. So, Grandpa isn't lying. He must be very busy with work, Pudding said. Hearing this, Little Bean pouted and lowered her head guiltily. Yeah. Speaking of which, I feel guilty toward your auntie. I didn't take good care of her when she was young and let her go wild. The professor sighed slightly. So, we're very happy that Grandpa can operate on Daddy and take care of us for a few days. What more can we ask for? Pudding spread out her hands. Sis, you do have a point. Little Bean was finally enlightened. Hearing Pudding's explanation, the professor felt sad. Children of a few years old could understand him, but he did not understand himself. Why were they so passionate about scientific research in the first place? In order to pursue a higher goal, he was simply crazy. All these years, for the sake of these hobbies and research, it was as if his family had been separated. Linya was like that. She even had to leave her biological daughter, Mian, to be raised by someone else. Lu Yen was the most pitiful. She had to run around with him. After Linya's accident, he took Lu Yen to Hong Kong and lived in seclusion for a while. Later, when he went abroad, Lu Yen was taken over by someone in Hong Kong. However, the little girl was wild and couldn't be controlled by anyone. Later, she decided to live on her own. Constantly running away, being hunted down, over and over again, Lu Yen had developed a lot of skills through her trials and tribulations. But as she grew older, she was no longer as clingy with the professor. Later, he was admitted to West Point Military Academy, graduated successfully, and then formed his own mercenary group. None of these professors knew about this. Later, the FBI told him that his daughter was already one of the best in the mercenary world. She was the most wanted criminal in the world. At that time, he realized that Yen had unknowingly grown up and walked on the path of a strong person. Grandpa, don't cry. I won't force you to stay. Seeing her grandpa's wet eyes, Little Bean quickly comforted him. Chapter 3070. No, Grandpa's fine. I just suddenly remembered something from the past. The professor pulled himself back from his thoughts and said gently to his granddaughter, Grandpa, have you booked your plane ticket? Will someone take you back? I'll ask handsome Sue to make the arrangements. Uncle and will escort you to the airport, Pudding said. It's okay. Grandpa has made the arrangements. Someone will pick me up. Don't worry. Pudding nodded. Daddy will wake up soon. The two of you should be obedient and wait for Mommy to come back. Okay. Pudding nodded obediently. Just then, the professor's watch reminded him in a low voice, Professor, you should go to the airport, okay? I got it. Then the professor stood up. Grandpa, you'll miss us, right? Pudding was still reluctant to leave. After all, she was a child. No matter who she lived with for a few days, she would become dependent on him. Of course. Then remember to call me or video call me. It's easy for me to pick up. You know my phone number, right? Pudding chattered. I remember your and Pudding's phone numbers. I'll call you when I'm free. Despite his words, the professor knew that once he went back, it would be difficult for him to make a phone call. He could only contact Lu Yen for less than 50 seconds each time. After all, his whereabouts were too important. He didn't even know how many people were looking for him. The FBI would also keep an eye on his movements at all times. They wouldn't allow him to talk so much on the phone. But he didn't need to tell the children about this. They were already disappointed that he was leaving. If they knew that he wouldn't call them, they would be very sad. Grandpa's leaving. The professor turned around and walked out slowly. Grandpa, goodbye. I'll miss you. Pudding's voice trembled when she said this. It was obvious that she was crying. Grandpa, have a safe trip. Pudding suppressed her emotions and pretended to be calm. The professor nodded and walked out with a heavy heart. When he walked to the door of the ward and opened it, a drop of tear fell on his calloused hand. Then, he opened the door and left without looking back. The professor left without hesitation and didn't need anyone to see him off. Su Yu and Rick stood at the entrance of the hospital, watching the black car slowly leave. Damn, what a mysterious old man. I'll find out his identity sooner or later. So you said? Rick didn't say a word, but there was a complicated look in his eyes. Lu Yen and the professor had complicated backgrounds and weren't people he and Su Yu could control. Even Qin Chu would not easily step into their circle. Rick knew the reason why they hadn't come looking for Huamin all these years. Someone who had a grudge with the leader of the top international terrorist organization was no joke. After the professor left, members of the Qin family entered the ward to visit Qin Chu one after another. Lady Qin held the hands of her two granddaughters. Qin Ning, her father, and Tang Chuan all stood to the side. Uncle, since you're back, why don't you stay with the children? I think my brother will wake up soon, Qin Ning said. Okay. Qin Chu's father nodded. I'll take care of my brother in the hospital. You're not feeling well, so you should go back and rest. Dad, you should go back too. You must be tired from the long flight. Qin Ning looked back at her father. Ning Ning, come out. Dad wants to talk to you. Qin Chu's second uncle gestured for Qin Ning to go out alone. Seeing the father and daughter acting so mysteriously, Tang Chuan's expression changed slightly. He felt uncertain. Chapter 3071. Daddy, why do you have to be so secretive? We can't talk about it in the house. Uncle and the others aren't strangers. How are things going between you and that kid from the Tang family? Qin Ning's father asked coldly. That's pretty good. Something happened to your brother and your uncle went to the resort. I heard you moved into that kid's mansion? Yeah, that's right. Qin Ning nodded confidently. Ahem, did you guys? What do you mean? Qin Ning was confused. Did you guys? As a father, he didn't want to ask his daughter this question, but Qin Ning's father felt worried if he didn't ask. What? Qin Ning didn't want to think about that, so she felt strange when her father stuttered. Did that kid take advantage of you? Qin Ning, Daddy, we're in a relationship. Why do you have to use the word, take advantage? Qin Ning was speechless. Before her father could speak, Qin Ning continued, Daddy, you've been in the States for so many years. You won't take this matter too hard, right? Although nothing happened between her and Tang Chuan, Qin Ning was still very open-minded and comforted her father. I'm not trying to control you. I'm just worried that you'll be too naive and stupid to be dumped by that kid. After all, that kid has a bad reputation. What if you get pregnant before marriage and he abandons you again? I won't let that happen. Qin Ning laughed. You're still laughing. Be serious. I'm serious. Daddy, you're saying this for my own good. I know, but I'm not stupid. I know how to protect myself. Are you coming back to the States with me this time? Sure enough, her father still asked. I'm not sure yet. Daddy, my brother hasn't woken up yet and my sister-in-law hasn't come back. The two kids are so pitiful. I'm worried about them. Come on, don't brush me off. Even if Chu didn't happen, you still wouldn't want to go. I think you're determined to stay here with that kid. That's not it. It's not like I won't go back to the States. Don't worry, Daddy. Qin Ning hugged her father's arm. The Qin family stayed in the hospital for almost a day. When it was dark, Qin Chu's parents took the two children back to South Hill Manor. Originally, Qin Ning wanted to stay and take care of Qin Chu, but Rick said he wanted to stay, so she couldn't refuse. Therefore, Tang Chuan picked up Qin Ning and went back first. Rick sent Cece home to reunite with her family. Then he was sent back to the hospital. Qin Chu showed no signs of waking up, but Rick believed in the professor's medical skills. On a private jet, Lu Yan's watch beeped. Lu Yan answered the phone half asleep. I've finished my business in China. Qin Chu will wake up soon. I've already left. Wow, Pops, you're really reliable. How are you? Any news from Ian? The professor asked. He's a bit sad. I think he needs a few days to recover. Lu Yen felt happy when she thought about how she tricked Ian again. Don't let your guard down. Take care of yourself. I know, pups. Have you found anything about your sister? The professor asked. Hearing this, Lu Yan's eyes dimmed slightly. Not yet. I don't know where that psycho Huasiqin hid my sister. There's not even a trace of her. Lu Yen bit her lips. Keep looking. I'll ask the FBI to help. If there's any news, let me know. Okay. Then I'll hang up. Hey, don't. Pops, I still have something to ask you, Lu Yen said anxiously just as the professor was about to hang up. Chapter 3072. Go ahead. Do you have any thoughts after seeing your two granddaughters? Yes. What thoughts? Tell me. Lu Yen got up from the big bed in the inner cabin like a puff of smoke, her face full of gossip. In order to hear clearly, she put the phone on speaker. Xiao Fei, who was sleeping on the leather chair, was woken up by the noise. The professor thought for a moment and replied solemnly, My idea is that you should stop fighting and killing. Get married and live your life like your sister. Lu Yen, you and Xiao Fei should hurry up and have children. I'll be happier if I have more grandchildren. Lu Yen. Hearing this, Xiao Fei smiled slightly. His father-in-law was indeed a good father-in-law in China. What are you laughing at? Lu Yen glanced at Xiao Fei and found him laughing. What did you say? The professor was angry. No. Dad, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Xiao Fei. Ha, Lu Yen explained immediately. Since there's nothing else, that's all. Then the professor hung up. How dare you eavesdrop on my phone call? Do you want to die? Lu Yen glared at him. I didn't eavesdrop. I just happened to wake up. I think your dad is right. What's right? Lu Yen looked at him in surprise. Let's hurry up. Look at my sister's twins. Hurry up. Lu Yen threw a pillow at him. Fortunately, Xiao Fei reacted quickly. Lu Yan's personality was the best of the best. Ordinary men couldn't stand her. She would swear and blow people up at the slightest provocation. She would shoot people at the slightest provocation or throw knives at them. She could shoot countless gunfight movies in her life. It was too surreal. But even so, Xiao Fei still loved Lu Yen and was willing to be with her every day. Even if he was hunted down and would die in the next second, he didn't care. In this world, the most beautiful love might not be a vow of eternal love, not a landslide, not a lovey-dovey relationship, and definitely not a lingering feeling. Maybe it was just like the tacit understanding between Xiao Fei and Lu Yen, where they would never leave each other. Never abandoning or giving up, no matter when. China, City Military Hospital. Perhaps because of the time difference, Rick didn't feel sleepy. He wanted to smoke a cigarette. However, he remembered that smoking was prohibited in the ward, so he simply gave up. He stood by the window, thinking about his wedding with Cici and the child in their womb. She wondered where Huasiqin had abducted Huamin. His thoughts immediately drifted far, far away. Suddenly, a weak cough startled him. Cough, cough, cough. A very low voice could be heard. However, Rick still heard it clearly. He immediately strode to the bed. As expected, Qin Chu's closed eyes slowly opened. Rick was actually a little excited. Qin Chu. He said, Brother, pour me a glass of water. After Qin Chu woke up, he was not in a hurry to ask Rick why he was here. He wanted water. Rick suppressed the ecstasy in his heart and poured a glass of water for Qin Chu. Then he very sensibly inserted a straw into the glass and placed it next to Qin Chu's mouth. After all, he had just woken up and was afraid that he would choke from drinking too much water. Seeing the straw, Qin Chu hesitated for a moment, but in the end he gave in. Qin Chu drank the full glass of water. Then his expression gradually improved. Rick, how long have I been unconscious? Qin Chu lowered his voice and asked. Chapter 3073. A few days. Qin Chu was speechless. I thought you were going to ask me what year it is now, Rick said seriously. Not really. I was unconscious, not transmigrated. To be honest, you slept long enough. We were all scared, Rick said slowly as he sat on the chair beside the bed and looked at Xianxia. Yeah. At that moment, I thought I was dead, Xianxia said. How are you now? Do you feel uncomfortable? Do you want me to call the doctor? No, I'm fine now. Let's talk. Xianxia waved his hand and asked Rick, who was about to get up to call the doctor, to sit down. Yeah. When did you come back? Yesterday. Cici is back too? Yeah, they're all back. How about my daughters? Are they okay? Thinking of his two precious little girls, Xianxia felt warm in his heart. They're fine. They stayed with you in the hospital during the day. At night, I saw that they were sleepy, so I went back to South Hill Manor with your mother. My parents are back. Yeah. Your second uncle is back too. Second uncle is back too? Xianxia was slightly surprised. Yeah. Everyone was worried about you. They all thought that you would. Rick paused for a second. I know. They all thought I wouldn't wake up, right? Yeah. After all, you're in a difficult situation. Plus, the medicine you took before was very stimulating. All the doctors in the country and abroad couldn't do anything about it. Then who operated on me? Xianxia asked. How did you know? Rick was shocked. Xianxia had just woken up. He didn't know anything about the situation. There are sutures here. Xianxia pointed at his chest. You're indeed a doctor. You're so sensitive. You even noticed this. I was just about to tell you that your surgery was actually, the professor is back, right? Xianxia asked calmly. You can even guess that? Other than my Mian, I don't think anyone has such amazing medical skills. Lu Yen definitely can't do it. She only knows how to make explosives. Yes, the professor is back. I was shocked too. I didn't expect him to. Rick nodded. I'm sure he will. Mian is his daughter. He won't abandon us. Lu Yen must have been here too, right? Yeah, I think so. Suyu didn't know Lu Yen, so he didn't mention her. But my people found out that after your accident, many of Huasiqian's subordinates were killed. The Municipal Public Security Bureau couldn't find the killer, and the Gao Ran was also troubled. But I think Lu Yen did it. She wanted to force out Huamin's whereabouts. Upon hearing the mention of Mian, Xianxia fell slightly silent and lowered his head. His long eyelashes were filled with melancholy. Did the professor leave already? Yeah, he left today. Pudding and Little Bean seemed to be very close to him. When he left, the two kids cried. The professor seemed to be in a bad mood. Yeah, blood is thicker than water. Of course, they have feelings for each other. Xianxia, why didn't you ask about Mian? Rick couldn't hold it in anymore and asked him. There's no point in asking. You guys definitely don't know where she is. You thought of that? Rick was surprised. As expected of the smart Xianxia, he seemed to be able to predict many things. Since Huasiqian planned all of this, he wouldn't let you guys find out so easily. That's not his style. Xianxia, has it never occurred to you that Huamian is already dead? Rick asked, enunciating each word. Chapter 3074. No, I never thought about it. Where did you get your confidence from? You're so decisive. Rick smiled, which was rare for him. I've loved her for so many years, so I'm sure she's still alive. Fine. I don't understand the chemistry between husband and wife. After all, I'm not married yet. You'll understand in the future. Xianxia smiled. You're much better now. I thought you'd continue to be depressed because of the lack of news about Huamin. I might have been in the past, but not now. Besides being Huamin's husband, I'm also their father. Then, Xianxia took out his cell phone and opened the photos, looking at the smiling faces of the children. He and Huamian, he and the children. They were a happy family. The gentleness in Xianxia's eyes was something Rick had never seen before. After Huasiqian went missing, Ian seemed to be looking for him as well. This time, he even betrayed Ian. People like him would never listen to Ian wholeheartedly. Xianxia put down his phone and said to Rick, I thought he had a close relationship with Ian's family. After all, he and Nalo had a history. That's why Huasiqian probably hates Ian and his brother to the core. Huasiqian doesn't play by the rules. I've sent people to investigate, But there's still no news. Lu Yen is also investigating, and I'm sure the professor will do the same. Yeah, there must be a reason behind this. Mian is smart, I'm sure she'll find a way to send us a message. Qin Chu was confident in Huamian. Meanwhile, on a deserted island, Huamian was being held captive by Huasiqian, but Huasiqian was really nice to her. Aside from restricting her freedom and not allowing her to leave the island, Huamian was very nice to her. Everything else was available. Seeing that Huamin didn't like to eat the food on the island, he ordered people to send some rare fruits and meat, even seafood, lobster, abalone, etc. However, no matter what he did, he couldn't seem to see Huamin's smiling face. Every day, Huamin would slander him. Even so, Huasiqian still felt very happy. Mian, look, you didn't really like those dresses, so I made a few more for you. They were made from high-quality silk from Suzhou. I made a few long dresses according to your figure, but considering that you're pregnant and your belly will get bigger and bigger, I asked the tailor to make some changes to your belly. Do you like them? Huasiqian carefully held a few light-colored dresses and presented them to Huamin. Huasiqian, don't waste your time. I won't like you no matter what you do, Huamin responded with a cold expression. It's okay if you don't like me. I've never forced you to like me. I like you. What's the point of one-sided love? Don't you think it's boring? Huamin glared at him. No, I'm enjoying it. Oh, right, I'll leave the dresses here for you. Try them on when you have time. They've been washed and disinfected. I know you're a clean freak. Huasiqian smiled. Huamin turned his head away and stopped talking to him. Huasiqian placed the dresses beside Huamin and stood up to leave. When he reached the door, he suddenly turned around. Mian, do you want to have fish soup tonight? As for the main dish, do you like rice or steamed buns? This scene was like a responsible husband taking care of his pregnant wife. Huamin suddenly felt that the scene was very strange. Chapter 3075. You're not talking? Huasiqian raised his eyebrows and continued, then I'll take it that you're admitting that it's rice. Then he continued to get busy. What he was busy with was chopping firewood, picking fruits, cooking, and helping Huamin wash clothes. Huamin had been here for the past few days. Other than getting angry, scolding, and throwing tantrums, he didn't do anything else. Huasiqian, on the other hand, waited on her like a nanny. It was really an indescribable feeling. This feeling was extremely uncomfortable. Taking advantage of Huasiqian's absence, Huamin wandered around alone and began to think about how to leave the island. Huasiqian didn't even leave his phone behind because all electronic signals were blocked on the island. He must have instructed his subordinates to send supplies regularly. Then, when his subordinates came, he told them to send supplies the next time. It was really isolated from the rest of the world. Other than her and Huasiqian, there was no one else around. Was she really going to die of old age here? Huamin didn't have the patience. If she couldn't get out like this, then she wouldn't even give birth to her child. She would just jump into the sea with the baby in her belly and commit suicide. That was better than being kept as a pet, especially if it was her child. She wouldn't allow her child to be like her the moment it was born. She wouldn't allow her child to become a prisoner and live the rest of its life. Huamin had always thought that she was quite smart. Therefore, she kept thinking of ways to leave the island. She even used a tree branch to draw an SOS, a big letter, on the beach, hoping that a plane or ship would come and save her. SOS was an international distress signal. No matter which country it was, as long as they saw this signal, they would know that someone was trapped here. At first, Huamin was full of confidence. Huasiqian didn't seem to notice what she was doing. He didn't even keep an eye on her and allowed her to wander around the island. However, after 3 or 4 days, Huamin felt a little hopeless. This was because she realized that this island was too small. No one passed by at all. Occasionally, there would be a plane, but it would be thousands of miles above the ground. They wouldn't be able to see the letter she wrote. Therefore, her plan to call for help could be said to have failed before it even had a chance. This was a huge blow to Huamin, and she was depressed. During dinner, as usual, Huasiqian walked over with a tray and gently placed it on Huamin's table. Mian hadn't had a chance to sit down and have a meal with Wuxia since she arrived. However, Wuxia seemed to have gotten used to this rhythm. Mian, I heard that pregnant women need to be in a good mood. What are you going to do with your frown? It's all because of you. Why are you making sarcastic remarks now? Mian was full of resentment. She felt as if she had become a different person. Her entire body was filled with resentment and anger, and she could even go crazy at any moment. She was no longer as quick-witted, calm, and composed as she was in the hospital. You can be angry with me, hit me, or scold me. Just vent your anger. Wuxia smiled. Then I'll kill you, okay? Min was furious. Sure, but I'm the only living thing on this island. If you kill me, you'll be the only one left. Who's going to take care of you then? Do I need you to take care of me? Min sneered. You've been on this island for so long, but you've never smiled. I really want to see you smile. I'll never smile at someone like you again, not in this lifetime. Stop dreaming. Min glared at Wuxia fiercely. Mian, take a look at this. Wuxia handed over a craft paper bag. Chapter 3076. What's this? Min glanced at the bag warily. Let's take a look first. Min dubiously dealt with the contents of the craft paper bag. In an instant, his heart almost melted. They were photos of the twins, Pudding and Little Bean. They were all photos of the two children. Some were taken on the streets. Some were taken while eating at a restaurant. There was something oily at the corner of Little Bean's mouth. She looked extremely cute. Min held the photos and looked at them affectionately. His gaze also became warm. Min, who exuded the aura of motherly love, was very charming. Min lowered her head, and a strand of her long hair fell down. It covered the side of her delicate face. Wuxia was moved. He reached out his hand and was about to help her tidy up. But Min reached out and slapped his hand away. What are you doing? Don't be nervous. I just want to help you tidy up your hair. I don't need you to do it. Okay. Don't be nervous. You are like a little porcupine. You're so paranoid. Wuxia smiled. Min held the photos lovingly, tears in her eyes. How did you get these photos? Of course they were taken by my people. What do you think? Are you happy? These are all the latest photos. Look at the date below. That's from the day before yesterday. Min was silent. My people took them and sent them to my people. They printed them. If you like them, I'll ask them to take more photos for you in the future. You make it sound like you're doing me a favor? It's because you kidnapped me that I can't see my daughters. Min raised her head, angry again. Calm down, Mian. After the baby is born, you'll still be a mother. Shut up. What does this baby have to do with you? Don't even think about it. No, I'm not. I'll treat him very well. Don't worry. Wuxia smiled. All right, with these photos, you should be in a good mood. Eat more tonight. After speaking, Wuxia got up and walked over to the table to eat. Min wasn't in the mood to eat. He looked at the photos again and again. They seemed to have grown taller. Min mumbled to himself. Military hospitals when they heard the news that Xianxia had woken up. It was 6:00 the next morning. All the members of the Qin family rushed to the military hospital. Suyu had also arrived early. The twins suppressed their longing for their father and rushed into the ward. Xianxia woke up very early. The documents in his hands were all about the properties under Wuxia. He was trying to locate them. Oh my God, Daddy, thank God you're finally awake, Little Bean shouted excitedly. Little Bean, did you miss me? Xianxia put down the documents in his hands and looked at his daughter lovingly. I missed you so much. Daddy. Little Bean ran over and threw herself into Xianxia's arms. Little Bean, be gentle. Daddy just had surgery and hasn't recovered yet, Pudding reminded her from behind. What are you afraid of? Our daddy is Superman. He doesn't care about these things. Little Bean hugged Xianxia's neck excitedly and refused to let go. Xianxia kissed the little girl's forehead. Then Xianxia looked at Pudding, who was behind Little Bean. Pudding, come here. Daddy wants to hug you. Qin Chu smiled gently. Pudding shook her head. No, Daddy's injuries haven't healed yet. I don't want to hug you. Pudding was only thinking about her father's health. Then you don't love Daddy anymore? Qin Chu's voice was always so pleasant to the ears. Oh my God, Qin Chu was acting cute with his daughter. This was the first time that this had happened. Even Pudding was shocked. Sis, don't be silly. Daddy is acting cute with you. Come here. Little Bean waved her hand and shouted at her sister. Chapter 3077. Hearing her daddy's words, Pudding walked over shyly. Qin Chu hugged his daughter and kissed her forehead with fatherly love. You must have taken care of your sister while I was in a coma, right? Not bad. Pudding had always been low-key and never took credit for anything. She also liked to keep everything to herself. In this aspect, she was very similar to Qin Chu. You and Pudding didn't tell anyone about Grandpa's visit. Uncle Rick said you did great? You didn't even tell Uncle Sue you. You even convinced him to let Grandpa do the surgery for me, right? It's my duty, Daddy. You did great. You are indeed my daughter. Qin Chu gave Pudding a big thumbs up. Hearing the praise, Pudding only smiled shyly, a little embarrassed. Daddy, you have to praise me too. I'm also very good. I hid the truth with Pudding and also learned some amazing medical skills from Grandpa. Really? You're great. Qin Chu smiled. Daddy, when are we going to find Mommy? Pudding suddenly asked. Qin Chu's heart sank slightly when he heard this. It seemed like this was a topic he didn't want to talk about after he woke up. Daddy, Pudding misses Mommy so much. I even dream about her. Pudding also misses Mommy. One night, I heard Pudding call Mommy in her sleep. Pudding said pitifully. Pudding bit her lip and didn't deny it. Indeed, she and her sister had never been separated from their mommy for so long. Even when they were kidnapped by He Yongjun and Xinjiani, they weren't separated for so long. This time, Huamin's disappearance was a big blow to the twins. Very soon, as long as Daddy can move freely, I'll go find your mommy. And Daddy promises you that I'll definitely find her, okay? Okay, I believe in Daddy. Daddy, you're the best. Pudding nodded. Grandpa told me this before he left. Explain what? Qin Chu looked at Pudding. Grandpa said that he destroyed all the medicine you used to take in the house. You're not allowed to take them in the future. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Qin Chu nodded. He knew that the professor had put in a lot of effort. Grandpa also said, Daddy, you have to control your emotions. This is all a psychological effect. Even if you're sad, you're not allowed to take that kind of medicine anymore. It'll harm your body. Yes. Qin Chu nodded again and listened to his daughter obediently. Daddy, Little Bean and I can't bear to lose you and Mommy. While you were in a coma, we couldn't eat or sleep well, Pudding said with tears in her eyes. Yeah, Daddy, you're too cruel. You slept for so long. You scared me. I thought you wouldn't wake up, Little Bean said directly. Little Bean, don't talk nonsense, Pudding immediately scolded her. I'm not talking nonsense. Really? Didn't Handsome Sue say that Daddy wasn't doing well? Little Bean asked. When Daddy wasn't here, I didn't worry about you because I knew Uncle Sue would take good care of you. Qin Chu held Little Bean in his arms and then looked at Pudding. It's not like that, Daddy. No matter how good Handsome Sue is, he's not our real father. We don't want to live in someone else's house for the rest of our lives. Although the Sue family is like our own home, it's not our home. South Hill Manor is. You and Mommy are the family that we can't live without. Wow, our Little Bean has improved. She can say something so mature now. Qin Chu smiled happily. Little Bean was about to say something when Gao Ran knocked on the door and walked in. Uncle Gao. The twins greeted him in unison. Chapter 3078. Gao Ran nodded. Can the two of you give Uncle Gao and your daddy some time to talk in private? Uncle Gao, what do you want to talk about behind our backs? Little Bean asked with a smile. Buyuan's marriage, Gao Ran said with a straight face. Uncle Gao, you're a bad guy? I'm not talking to you. You're so annoying. Little Bean immediately covered her face and ran out. shaking her head helplessly. Pudding followed her sister out. What's going on, Chief Gao? You bullied my daughter as soon as you came in, Xianxia joked. If I didn't use my ultimate move, your daughter wouldn't be easy to deal with. As Gao Ran spoke, he pulled a chair over and sat down. He sat down beside Xianxia's bed, very close to him. Then, he casually picked up the dagger and peeled the apple, looking very relaxed. Aren't you going to ask me how I'm doing? Xianxia asked. You look so lively. I'm sure you're fine. You know me. Xianxia smiled. Gao Ran and Huamian had known each other for longer than they had known each other since they were young, so they had a lot of chemistry. You really scared me. You were in a coma for so long. It's just a minor injury. Compared to the 4 years in the States, it's nothing. Xianxia smiled bitterly. Chu, I finally understand you. Your feelings for Huamian. Thinking that Xianxia missed Huamian so much that he got paranoid personality disorder and didn't want Huamian to know about it, Gao Ran felt heartbroken. She's my wife. I should do anything for her. I know. You love her so much that you're willing to do anything for her. But, can you take care of yourself first? How can you take medicine that's harmful to your liver? Gao Ran's words were laced with reproach. Before Xianxia could speak, Gao Ran continued, in fact, Huamian wasn't very happy in the 4 years you were in the States. Although you took care of her, she always missed you. It's not easy for a woman to take care of your company and 2 kids. I know. Xianxia's voice got lower and lower. So, if she loses you, how can Huamian live? You two love each other so much. Why do you torture each other like this? Gao Ran couldn't understand why he had to suffer for the sake of the other party. Xianxia lowered his head, thinking about something, and didn't say anything. You and I have been looking for Huamian's whereabouts. You won't be able to find her, Xianxia said. You don't believe in our abilities? Gao Ran teased. It has nothing to do with your abilities. This is a trap that Wuxia has been planning for years. He's been waiting for this moment. How could he let us find her so easily? That brain of his isn't for nothing. I believe you. Wuxia is a psycho, but he's really shrewd. If he's been planning this for so many years, then it's not that easy. But no matter how hard it is, you'll keep looking. You won't give up, right? Emichim. No matter how long it takes, no matter what it takes, I'll find her, even if it means death. Xianxia was determined. I really don't get it. There are people in the circle who don't understand and say that you're a coward, useless, and can't even protect your wife. This has nothing to do with ability. You're just unlucky that a psychopath took your place. Even if you're a god, if someone has been watching you and plotting against you for more than 10 years, there will still be a time when you slip up. Gao Ran defended Xianxia. Forget it. I don't care about what those irrelevant people say, Xianxia said faintly. Do you have a plan to find Huamian? Gao Ran wanted to help Xianxia. I want to see Lu Yan first, Xianxia said. Lu Yan? Gao Ran was confused. Chapter 3079. You don't know her, Xianxia replied directly. Damn, of course I don't know her. Otherwise, why would I ask? Who is it? I can tell from her name that she's a woman. Hee, could she be the mistress you met in the States? Gao Ran teased. Xianxia, fine, I'm just kidding. Don't look at me like you want to eat me, okay? Gao Ran felt guilty. Don't talk nonsense. It's not as simple as you think. It's very complicated. I'll tell you later. Okay, the most handsome, arrogant, and brave Xianxia in history. Congratulations on your recovery. You're full of energy again. Let's fight to the death with that big pervert Wuxia. I swear, when I see him again, I'll take off my police uniform and beat him up to vent my anger. Damn it. He's not a joke, Gao Ran cursed through gritted teeth. Xianxia was very calm in the face of Gao Ran's intense reaction. Including this time, when he woke up in the hospital, his attitude wasn't particularly extreme. After being in a coma for so long, he thought that he might die and leave this world. When he woke up, he knew that he still had unfinished business. Mian was still waiting for him to save her. Coupled with Qin Chu's strange personality, his reaction was surprisingly calm. Everyone was a little afraid that he would take things too hard. Okay, Chief Gao, I'll rely on you when the time comes. Qin Chu smiled slightly. No problem, we've been brothers for so many years. Your business is my business. Your parents are my parents, your children are my children, and your wife is me. Looking at Qin Chu's murderous gaze, Gao Ran didn't dare to joke anymore and quickly changed his words. Ahem, your wife is like my biological sister. That's more like it. Qin Chu rolled his eyes at him. The news of Qin Chu waking up quickly spread, and everyone came to visit. In addition to Rick and Gao Ran, these two close friends, Su Yu also came. When Su Yu arrived, it was noon. Everyone had gone out for lunch, and only Qin Chu was in the ward. He had just finished his mother's porridge and was about to drink some water when he realized that there was no water in the cup. Then, Qin Chu put down the empty glass. Su Yu walked in directly, picked up the cup, went to the side, filled it with water from the kettle, and handed it to Qin Chu. Thank you. Qin Chu raised his head and glanced at Su Yu. How is it? How's your recovery? Very good. I think I'll be able to get out of bed in 2 days. Qin Chu smiled in a friendly manner. Okay, that's good. Pudding and Little Bean will be very happy, Su Yu said. Thank you for taking care of the two of them during this period of time. Why do you use the word, take care? The two of them are destined to be with me. I've watched them grow up since they were born. Although they're not my biological daughters, my relationship with them is definitely more than that. So, taking care of them is part of my job. Hearing Su Yu's words, Qin Chu felt a surge of warmth in his heart. Su Yu was always a righteous man and never used underhanded methods. This was also why Qin Chu always respected Su Yu. But, Qin Chu, I want to give you a good scolding. Su Yu said. Qin Chu raised his head in surprise. He didn't know why Su Yu suddenly said this. Was it because he lost Huamian? Chapter 3080. Look at you, what kind of father are you? Qin Chu was speechless. You were fine, but you handed your daughter to me. You even asked your stupid assistant to pass the message to me as if you were leaving me a will. It's so tiring. Qin Chu was speechless. At that time I thought, I had a slim chance of survival. How is that possible? You were set up by Wuxia and you were fine. Didn't you come back safe and sound? People say that if you survive a disaster, you're bound to have good fortune. You're still in the future. Don't say such inauspicious things again. If Huamin finds out, he'll beat you up. Okay, I won't say it. Live well and find Huamin. Hey, I'll find him. Su Yu sighed deeply and stood up. Hey, let's not talk so formally. I'm not used to it. By the way, have you eaten? What do you want to eat? I'll make you something. I just ate porridge made by my mother. I can only eat liquid food now. Yeah, look at me. I forgot that you're still a patient who just recovered from a serious illness. Okay, rest well. I've been trying to find news about Huamin. I'll let you know if I have any news. Rest well. I'm leaving. Su Yu, Qin Chu said. Don't thank me. At a time like this, I don't need a thank you. I feel uncomfortable hearing it. Su Yu knew that although Qin Chu didn't say anything, he must be very grateful to him. They had all thanked him before. No, I won't say thank you this time. Qin Chu smiled. Well, let's not talk about that between us. I'm not looking at you. We're not friends to begin with, but I'm friends with Huamin, and you're my friend's husband. I can't bear to see my friends in trouble, Su Yu tried to explain. In fact, he was just being stubborn. Qin Chu had already seen through him. I thank you on behalf of Mian. Look, she's doing it again. Huamin, that wretched girl, won't thank me. She can't wait to slander me. Qin Chu chuckled upon hearing this. Our sharp-tongued Dr. Hua is back this time. I have to ask her to treat me to a big meal to help me get over the shock. I haven't slept well for so many days. Yes, when she comes back, let her treat all of us to a meal for 7 consecutive days. Qin Chu said, that's a good idea. However, if we let her treat so many of us to a meal for 7 days in a row, will she go bankrupt? Suyu laughed out loud. Just thinking about that scene made him feel warm. No, my wife, she's very rich. Xianxia's lips curled up slightly. You're right. Huamin is a capitalist. She's really good at making money. Her salary as the vice director is already very high. We can't sympathize with her. We have to slander her for 7 days, Suyu said. After Suyu left, the hospital room returned to silence. Xianxia picked up his phone and opened the photo album. Looking at Huamin's photo, he couldn't calm down for a long time. Once again, a piercing pain came from his chest. He knew that this wasn't a physical pain, but a psychological one. He missed her too much and was in so much pain that it caused him to be in this state. It seemed that if he didn't take medicine, this kind of state would come very quickly. Just like the 4 years he was in the States, his chest twitched and his heart seemed to shrink into a ball. It made him feel a little suffocated. You have to wait for me. I will find you. Xianxia clutched his chest, his expression extremely painful. At the same time on the deserted island, Huamin discovered that Wuxia was missing. Yes, he hadn't seen him for an entire day. He didn't even cook. This had never happened before. Did he leave the island? Huamin wondered. Chapter 3081. However, based on her understanding of Wuxia, that shouldn't be the case. Even if Wuxia left the island for work, he would at least tell her to prepare some ingredients for her to eat. But now, for the entire day, Huamin went out for a walk around the island and then went to the beach to daydream. She didn't have an appetite in the afternoon, so she didn't go back for lunch. She wondered why Wuxia didn't look for her today. In the past, whenever she didn't go back for lunch, Wuxia would anxiously look for her all over the island. He would even bring food for her, afraid that she would be hungry. A rumbling sound came from his stomach. Huamin touched her stomach and felt that she was being selfish. Even if she didn't eat, the baby in her stomach still had to eat. Moreover, she wasn't a rich young lady who didn't do household chores. She might as well cook for herself. Who cares where Wuxia went? Wouldn't it be better if he left? She wouldn't be bored if she was alone. At this thought, Huamin got up and went to the kitchen. She found basic ingredients like rice, flour, and corn oil. There was no refrigerator on the island. It wasn't because electricity was troublesome, but because Wuxia might want to return to his primitive life. He tried his best not to use those advanced appliances. Whether it was cooking or stir-frying, he used a big iron pot in the kitchen. The bottom of the iron pot was burning wood. Every morning, Wuxia would go out to look for wood and chop it into firewood. He enjoyed it very much. According to Wuxia, the food that his subordinates sent was always stored in a cellar behind the wooden house. Huamin knew about cellars. When she was in university, she went out for an internship. She once went to a backward village with her teachers and classmates. In that village, water and electricity were scarce, not to mention appliances. Therefore, in the summer, to prevent the vegetables from going bad too quickly, every family would store some food and necessities in the cellar. It was similar to the cellar of a villa in the city, but it was definitely not as luxurious. In fact, it was just a pit that was dug by hand and made into a ladder. The temperature in the basement was very low. Huamin had also heard from Wuxia that the supplies sent by his subordinates were all in the cellar. However, she had never seen what the cellar looked like. He wasn't interested either. Huamin used the remaining firewood from yesterday to burn the iron pot. Then he added water. Using the primitive method, he put water and rice in a small basin and then steamed them in an iron pot. As for the vegetables, she looked around and only found the leftover green pepper eggs from yesterday. She picked it up and smelled it. She felt that the smell had changed, so she threw it away. Huamin didn't pay much attention to the problem of vegetables at first. He thought that it would be fine to eat them casually. But then she suddenly thought of a very serious problem. She couldn't eat every meal, right? If Wuxia didn't come back for 1 or 2 days, what was she going to eat to survive? In the end, Huamin calmed down and thought about it. He decided to take a look at the cellar. She wanted to see how much food was left. At least she couldn't starve to death on this deserted island. As for the reason why Wuxia left the island, she was too lazy to think about it. Then, Huamin opened the door and walked towards the back of the wooden house. That was where Huaxiqian often went, so she rarely went there and had no interest in it. When she got close to the cellar, Huamin started to feel inexplicably anxious. It felt like she knew that something bad was going to happen, but she couldn't stop walking. Chapter 3082. When Huamin reached the entrance of the cellar, she felt a little depressed. Suddenly, he didn't dare to open that small square door again. The door was attached to the ground, so she had to hold the handle and lift it up. Then she had to climb down the dark ladder. Speaking of which, going down to the cellar during the day was indeed a scary thing, especially on a deserted island like this. Huamin took a deep breath and encouraged herself. Then, she suddenly opened the cellar door. Then, a gust of eerie cold air hit her in the face. She couldn't help but shudder. Huamin carefully held the flashlight in the room. Then she climbed down the ladder bit by bit. When she reached the ground, she was surprised to find that the cellar was actually huge. It wasn't like the small cellars in the mountain village that she saw before, which were small and humid. This place was surprisingly dry and cool. Moreover, the walls were made of limestone. This kind of style could no longer be described as a cellar. It was even more luxurious than the cellars of some rich people. No wonder Huaxiqian liked to come here when he had nothing to do. It was really cool here. Huamin looked at the cellar. There were many ingredients and daily necessities neatly arranged in the cellar. There was an entire box of whiskey, Lafite, and champagne. From small items like toilet paper and laundry detergent, there was actually everything. This scale was comparable to a small grocery store. As for the easy-to-store things like ham, canned fish, and bottled salted vegetables, there were 5 to 6 boxes of each. Huamin was a little slightly surprised. No wonder Huaxiqian kept changing the dishes all day long. There were so many ingredients. Huamian held the flashlight in her hand and walked in. When she walked to the end of the cellar, she saw a small door. The walls were made of limestone. However, the door was dark red and even a little rusty. It looked a little scary. The door wasn't locked. Huamin was very curious. What else could be inside? She shone the flashlight and pushed the door open. He found himself in another storage space. Huaxiqian must have bought this place a long time ago because this basement was not something that could be completed in 1 or 2 months. Huamin thought as he walked inside. Suddenly, a weak cough could be heard. Huamin's scalp went numb. Who's there? Huamin shone his flashlight in the direction of the voice. He was surprised to find a figure curled up in the corner of the room. Huamin, I knew you would come, he. The man slowly stood up. When Huamin's flashlight shone on the man's face, she felt like her hair was about to explode. That feeling was absolutely horrifying. This person was Huaxiqian. It was actually the Huaxiqian that she thought had already left the island. But why would he lock himself in here for no reason? In an instant, Huamin's mind was filled with too many questions. Why are you here? Huamin forced herself to be calm and asked him. Why are you here? He asked back. I thought you left the island, so I came down to find something to eat. There's no food up here, Huamin said. Oh, I see. He nodded, not surprised or surprised. Seeing that Huamin didn't speak, Huaxiqian waved his hand and smiled at Huamin. Huamin, come here. What? Huamin looked at him cautiously. He didn't move forward and even subconsciously took 2 steps back. I sprained my ankle and can't walk. Can you help me, please? He said with a smile. Chapter 3083. Where did you sprain your ankle? Huamin was skeptical. In the basement, of course. Why else would I sprain my ankle and come here? Huaxiqian chuckled. Then why did you enter this room? There's nothing here. Huamin noticed that there was nothing else in the room other than Huaxiqian. Why did he enter such an empty room? Shouldn't it be more logical to enter the room where Huaxiqian put his things? I just sprained my ankle and couldn't get out, so I wanted to find a place to rest. Is that so? Huamin had a feeling that things weren't that simple. Huamin, are you suspecting me? Huamin looked at Huaxiqian from afar and didn't approach him. Huamin noticed that Huasiqian was in a dark corner and she couldn't see what was around him. She really didn't want to act rashly. I'm not suspecting you. I just think something's wrong, Huamin said bluntly. What's wrong? You're too sensitive. Huasiqian sat on the floor and smiled, trying to look calm. But Huasiqian never calls me Huamin, Huamin said calmly. Huasiqian was slightly surprised. He didn't think that Huamin would notice such a small thing so clearly. Yes, Huamin had noticed the way he called him. Although it was very friendly and gentle, he still called Huamin. Huasiqian had never called him Huamin before. Huamin had never called him that. When they were in Sea City, he would call Huamian little sister. Now that they were on the island, he called her Hin. Even if she pissed him off or got mad at him, he wouldn't call her by her full name. The only reason he called her Huamin was because he wasn't very close to Huamin. As for this person, Huamin seemed to have an answer in his mind. You're pretty smart. No wonder that guy likes you. It seems like the rumors of high IQ are true. Huasiqian slowly stood up. As he stood up, the sound of chains clattering could be heard. It was obvious that he was bound by chains. You're Jack? Although he already knew the answer, Huamin still felt very nervous. This was because every time Huasiqian's second personality appeared, Huamin felt like it was a nightmare. If Huasiqian was a psycho, then Jack was a demon. 10 Huasiqians wouldn't be as scary as one Jack. Very good, you still remember me. I'm so touched. Huamian. Jack's tone was very strange, especially when he said Huamin's name. He deliberately dragged out the last syllable. Huamin immediately broke out in cold sweat. Even his fingers were slightly trembling. She had always thought of herself as a calm person in the face of danger, but at this moment, she still felt panic, fear, and despair for no reason. Are you chained? Huamin's gaze locked onto Jack's hands and feet. They didn't look thick, but they were abnormally strong. The chains were very new and very smooth. There was no one else on this island other than her and Huasiqian, so who chained him? Huasiqian, that coward, can only do things that hurt himself. If I said he was the one who chained me, would you believe me? Huamin didn't say anything after hearing this. She just kept trying to figure out if Jack was telling the truth or not. For her, neither Huasiqian nor Jack could be trusted. Chapter 3084. Why did he lock you up? He's a psycho, so he locks himself up for fun, Jack said airily. That shouldn't be the case. As far as I know, Huasiqian isn't a reckless person. He loves himself a lot. So you don't believe me? Jack raised his eyebrows and asked. I just want to say that Huasiqian didn't lock himself up. I'm afraid it's you, right? Huamin stared into Jack's eyes and said word by word. There seemed to be a slight change in Jack's eyes. Huamin was indeed not a simple woman. Especially at a time like this, she was still very cautious. That's funny. What's the difference between locking me up and locking himself up? It's not like you don't know our situation. It's hard to say, but I think he wouldn't do something like this for no reason. Let's not talk about this for now. Huamin, there's only you and me on this island. If I stay locked up like this, I'll starve to death. It's okay if I starve to death, but once I die, you'll be in danger too. Do you know that? You can't live on this island alone. So, what are you trying to say? What I'm trying to say is, let me go, and I'll let you go. You'll let me go? Huamin was a little confused. Obviously, she didn't believe Jack's words. My relationship with Huasiqian is like this. We share memories, so I know what he did to you. He planned for so many years just to take you out to a place where no one can find you. If you stay here with him, you won't be able to escape. I'm sure you know the situation on this island better than I do, so it's impossible for you to run away. If you wait for someone to come and save you, it might take 100 years. Plus, if you live here for a year or two, he might move again. Huasiqian's love for you is more stubborn than you can imagine. Huamin didn't say anything and just listened to Jack's analysis. But I'm different. I'm not him. I'm an independent personality. I don't like you at all. I'm free. Let me go, and we'll leave this place together. Then we'll write off the grudge between us, and you can continue to want revenge. That's your business. The most important thing is to leave this godforsaken place. It was obvious that Jack despised this place. His attitude was the complete opposite of Hua Xiqian's. Hua Xiqian loved this place very much. He had even made up his mind to grow vegetables here with Huamin in the future. Therefore, Huamin thought that this might really be an excellent opportunity to escape from this uninhabited island. At the very least, if Hua Xiqian regained his personality, he would never let her go. Seeing that Huamin was hesitant, Jack began to persuade him even more. Don't hesitate anymore. This is a rare opportunity. He's been taking a lot of drugs every day to suppress my appearance. There aren't many opportunities for me to appear. If you don't take this opportunity to escape, you won't have another chance. Do you understand? Jack kept pressuring Huamin. I understand what you're saying, but why should I believe you? How do I know that you won't harm me after I help you open the chains? Huamin asked. So, since it's all unknown, why don't you take a gamble? Jack's smile was a little strange. Huamin was once again in a dilemma. If she didn't let him go, then what Jack said was right. Once Hua Xiqian regained his consciousness, he wouldn't let her go no matter what she said. Jack really didn't like her. It was obvious from the few times they had fought before. Then, should she take a gamble? Chapter 3085. In Sea City. In Shen Mingxi's private mansion, he came in with a thermos flask and Tian ran to him. Uncle Shen, you're back. Tian, have you had dinner? No. Huh? Didn't the housekeeping auntie that uncle called over make dinner for you? She did. Why didn't you eat? Don't you like the dishes? Shen Mingxi asked. Tian shook her head. Before Shen Mingxi could ask, Tian continued, I just want to wait for Uncle Shen to come back so we can eat together. Didn't I tell you not to wait for me? I get off work late. But I don't have an appetite when you're not home. Let's eat together, okay? Okay. Tian smiled like a flower. Sister Fong, heat this up. Shen Mingxi handed her the thermos flask. Sister Fong was the best housekeeper recommended by the housekeeping company and was very considerate in cooking and taking care of children. As a man, it was inconvenient for Shen Mingxi to take care of Tian alone. Besides, he didn't have the time or energy. So, he hired a housekeeper. But Tian didn't seem to like it. Whenever Shen Mingxi came back, she would stick to him. She even wanted him to watch her sleep. This child didn't seem to have a sense of security. Uncle Shen, what's that? Is it delicious? Yeah, it's delicious. What's delicious? It's pork bone soup. It's delicious. Uncle Shen, where did you buy it? Tian glanced at the thermos flask in the housekeeper's hand and asked. I didn't buy it. A friend gave it to me, Shen Mingxi said casually. Who gave it to you? Tian didn't want to give up and wanted to get to the bottom of it. It's... Shen Mingxi hesitated slightly because he didn't know if he should tell the truth or if it would affect Tian. Did Auntie Wei Ying give it to you? Tian asked. How do you know? Shen Mingxi looked at the child in surprise. Because she cares about Uncle Shen the most. She's been trying to please you, Tian said. Shen Mingxi squatted down, hugged Tian, and said patiently, Ting, let me tell you, fawning is a derogatory term. It's not suitable to be used in this kind of conversation. He thought that the child was too young and might not know the meaning of the words, so he couldn't grasp them well. However, Tian seemed to be very calm as she looked at him and corrected him. I know that fawning is a derogatory term. It's not good language. Shen Mingxi was stunned again. But Auntie Wei Ying does have ulterior motives? She's been trying to please you. Shen Mingxi, Uncle Shen, I don't like Auntie Wei Ying. Can you stop hanging out with her? Tian, why don't you like her? She's very fierce. She was very rude to me and Mom before, yelling and screaming. She always bullies us. She's a bad woman. Shen Mingxi suddenly remembered that Wei Ying had done many things to hurt Hua Yanyan and her daughter because of her obsession with him. But that was a long time ago. Now, Wei Ying was no longer the rude and unreasonable woman she used to be. She had been reborn. Listen to Uncle Shin. Auntie Wei Ying is not that kind of person anymore. She's realized her mistakes. But she won't like me, Uncle Shin. Why do you think she won't like you? Shen Mingxi was surprised by what Tian Tian said tonight. Chapter 3086. It's because she's my mom's enemy. Who told you that? My mom told me. What did she tell you? Shen Mingxi suddenly realized that he had forgotten about Hui Yanyan's teachings to Tian Tian. Mom's? Auntie Wei Ying is a bad person and that she must deal with her. What else? Shen Mingxi continued to ask. She also said, don't let Auntie Wei Ying be with Uncle Shen and torture her. Shen Mingxi exhaled deeply. As expected, Hui Yanyan had hidden her intentions well. It turned out that she was very scheming and had planned everything step by step. Compared to a scheming bitch like Hui Yanyan, Wang was hot-tempered but didn't play tricks. She was much easier to forgive. Seeing Shen Mingxi's dark expression, Tian Tian leaned against his face and said in a small voice, Uncle Shen, I know you'll find another woman if you don't stay with my mom. But don't go with Auntie Wei Ying, okay? She's on bad terms with my mom and won't treat me well. She'll kill me. Tian Tian, it's between adults. You don't understand. I don't care. I don't want Uncle Shen to be with Auntie Wei Ying. Then, Tian Tian ran into her room. Tianan, it's time to eat. The housekeeper, Fang, came in with a bowl of reheated pork bone soup. But Tianan knocked her to the ground. The pork bone soup spilled out and almost scalded the housekeeper, making her step back in fear. Mr. Shin, what's wrong with Tian Tian today? She's acting strange. I was going to ask you that. What's going on? Did someone come to our house today? Shen Mingxi frowned slightly. No. Fang was also confused. At this moment, Shen Mingxi glanced at the newspaper at home. The headline of the entertainment section was a photo of him and Wei Ying. It was a photo of them being intimate with each other on the eve of their wedding. But why would they dig up such an old photo? Shen Mingxi picked up the newspaper and read the headline. Rumor has it that young Master Shen and his ex-wife have been interacting a lot lately and are showing signs of getting back together. Shen Mingxi finished reading and put down the newspaper. Who brought this back? Sir, I bought them. When I went out to buy groceries, I had some spare change. I bought a few newspapers. Tian Tian doesn't know so many words. Did you tell her? No, this really isn't me. Maybe she used some software on her phone. I really don't know why. I'm sorry. Please don't fire me. Miss Fang hadn't been here for long and didn't know Shen Mingxi's temper. She was scared and thought that Shen Mingxi was going to scold her. Then it's fine. Sister Fang, you go ahead with your work. I'll go to the room to check on the child. Shen Mingxi was actually very tired after a day of work in the company. He had to be both a father and a mother when he came back. Today, Wei Ying went to the company to see him. They didn't talk for long before she left after putting down the pork bone soup. She said that he hadn't recovered from his injuries after the car accident, so she was helping him nourish his body. To be honest, Wei Ying was a completely different person now, and Shen Mingxi did feel differently about her. But Tian Tian, it was indeed a difficult problem. Not to mention whether Tian Tian would accept Wei Ying or not. Wei Ying probably wouldn't accept Hui Yanyan's daughter either, right? After all, the old grudge. The Municipal Public Security Bureau was in charge of the mental hospital. 2 young nurses gossiped in the hallway. Did you hear? Young Master Shen and his ex-wife are getting remarried. The media is talking about it like crazy. Yeah, they're a perfect match. They shouldn't have divorced. It's all Hui Yanyan's fault, the despicable third party. Hui Yanyan sat on the hospital bed, leaning against the wall with her hair disheveled. After hearing this, her eyes gradually turned cold. Chapter 3087. Someone come quickly. Hui Yanyan dashed off the bed like a madwoman and shook the locked door with all her might. What's the matter? The nurse looked at her impatiently through the bars. I want to see that bastard Shen Mingxi. Get him here. I want to see my daughter. You think you can see whoever you want? Who do you think you are? The nurse glanced at Hui Yanyan in disdain. Bitch, shut up. Help me find him or I'll kill all of you. Hui Yanyan seemed to have lost her mind. She glared at the nurse with fury in her eyes. You're indeed a psycho. Who wants to talk to you? Young Master Shin is busy. You don't know yet, right? He's getting back together with his ex-wife. Hui Yanyan's face turned livid when she heard this. When the time comes, your daughter will be sent to an orphanage. Miss Wei won't be able to accept your daughter. Hui Yanyan clenched her fists in fury. If it weren't for you, young Master Shin wouldn't have gotten a divorce. You're just like your mother. You're addicted to being a mistress, aren't you? Unfortunately, your mother got married, but you didn't. You ended up being abandoned. Shut up. Hui Yanyan pointed at the nurse and yelled. What's the point of getting mad at me? I'm telling the truth. You're crazy and no man will want to talk to you. Young Master Shin only cares about you and comes to see you a few times. Do you really think it's true love? Idiot. There was a reason for the nurse's harsh words. One of the nurse's cousins was good friends with Wei Ying, so she knew a lot about the rich and powerful. That was why she hated Hui Yanyan so much. You won't have a good ending for treating me like this. Just you wait. Hui Yanyan cursed viciously. In the military hospital, Qin Chu was now able to move freely. This was his last day in the hospital. Qin Ning took the initiative to accompany her brother, so in the middle of the night, only the two of them were left in the large ward. Qin Ning lay on the sofa and fell asleep with her clothes on. Qin Chu, on the other hand, couldn't fall asleep for a long time. He slowly got off the bed. He wanted to be quiet so that he wouldn't wake Qin Ning up. But this girl was a light sleeper, so she still woke up. Big brother, where are you going? Qin Ning rubbed her eyes and slowly sat up. I need to go to the toilet. Call me, I'll help you there. I can walk now. I've almost recovered. I don't need you to support me. Go to sleep. No, you've just recovered from a serious illness, and your wounds may not have healed yet. You can't make any mistakes. Qin Ning was willing to stay because she didn't trust anyone else to take care of her brother. To her, taking care of her brother was something she wanted to do. Ning Ning, I'm really fine. I'm just too bored and want to go out and get some fresh air, Qin Chu said. Big brother, are you starting to feel sad again? Qin Ning's eyes darkened as she tried to figure out what Qin Chu was thinking. Qin Chu didn't say anything. During his 4 years in the States, Qin Chu couldn't sleep because he missed Huamin. He would wake up in the middle of the night to drink coffee and tea, and in the end, he would take medicine to suppress it. To Qin Chu, that feeling was constant torture. No one could imagine what it was like for a normal person to be unable to sleep. Qin Chu's worst experience was that he couldn't close his eyes for an entire week. It was extremely painful. He was also very thin, and his eyes were deeply sunken. Qin Ning's heart ached when she saw him like this. I'm fine. Don't lie to me. Other people don't know, but I do. Sister-in-law is your life. When Qin Ning said this, her voice trembled slightly. She was crying. Chapter 3088. Now that Huamian was in trouble, it was like taking away half of her brother's life. Qin Chu leaned against the window and sighed slightly. He picked up a cigarette and was about to put it in his mouth when Qin Ning snatched it away. No smoking. The doctor said so. It's okay. Just one. No. Qin Ning was adamant. I'm a doctor too. I know how it works, Qin Chu explained patiently. Big brother, don't be like this. I really feel bad for you. Qin Ning shed tears. Big brother, it's okay. I'm really okay. I'll find Mian. I will. Qin Chu's voice was very soft as if he was comforting Qin Ning but also comforting himself. Big brother, think about it. Even if Mian isn't home, you still have 2 kids. When you were in the hospital, Pudding and Little Bean were so pitiful. They couldn't stay in the Su family peacefully. They even argued and Little Bean insisted on going home. They're so young and their mother is no longer by your side. Big brother, you have to take care of yourself. Ning Ning, do you think I'm useless? Why do you ask? Qin Ning was slightly surprised. I've been with Mian for so long, but I haven't brought her much happiness. Instead, I've been hurt wave after wave. 8 years ago, her father, Jingde, died in a car accident. Then I was framed by Wuxia and she took the blame for my murder. In the 4 years that I was missing, she protected herself and her kids. She stayed in the Su family and raised the kids. I realized how useless I am. I've been dragging her down. Big brother, how can you think like that? You and Mion are deeply in love with each other. But my love is so fragile. Every time she's in trouble, I can't help her. Big brother, it's not your fault. Even Su you couldn't save Mion. Wuxia, that psychopath, has been plotting against your family. No one can handle it. It's not your fault. Qin Ning noticed that after her brother woke up, there was a subtle change in his mentality. She had never seen such a state of self-denial in her entire life. This was because her brother was a very conceited person when he was young. He was extremely arrogant and would do everything to the best of his ability. It was almost as if he was pursuing perfection, but when it came to Huamin, he couldn't protect her well. Over time, he began to doubt himself. This was not a good sign. Big brother, you have to adjust your mentality. We can't admit defeat. Sis-in-law is still waiting for you to save her. Qin Ning tried to persuade Qin Chu. I'm fine. Go to sleep. I'll be fine after a while. Qin Chu didn't say much. He looked out of the window with a complicated expression. There was a lighter in his hand. The symbols on it were creepy, but Qin Ning didn't understand them. In the basement of the deserted island, Huamin and Jack were still confronting each other. Huamin, what are you still thinking about? Are you really going to miss such a good opportunity to escape? There's nothing on the island right now. Let me ask you, how are you going to let me leave the island? Huamin looked at him quietly. That's easy. Don't Wuxian's people come every once in a while? They send supplies. I can take you away during that time. They won't suspect boss and no one knows me. Very few people know of my existence. Jack smiled proudly. So you're saying that even if I let you go now, we'll still have to stay on the island until Wuxian's people come, right? Something like that. Jack nodded. That's easy. Then I'll let you go when Wuxian's people come. Huamin already had an idea. Huamin, what do you mean by that? Jack's face gradually darkened. Chapter 3089. What I mean is, I can't let you go right now. How can you go back on your word? Jack was furious. Go back on my word? No, I never promised to save you, so it's not going back on my word, Huamin replied calmly. You idiot! You actually gave up your only chance to escape from the island. Jack gritted his teeth and glanced coldly at Huamin's face. This was indeed a reaction that Wuxian had never shown her before. Don't say that. I'm not stupid, that's why I can see the situation clearly. I do hate Wuxian, but Jack, you make my hair stand on end. Yes, Huamin already knew the answer in his heart. He would rather give up this chance to escape than believe Jack's words. They had fought before, and this man was a complete madman. In comparison, although Wuxian was annoying, at least he could guarantee her safety. Then you can die of old age on this island? Jack sneered. I'm actually curious. Since you share memories with Wuxian, then you should know where the key is, right? Huamin asked tentatively. Are you trying to trick me? Of course not. If you want me to save you, don't you have to tell me where the key is? Huamin laughed. Woman, why should I believe you? You're not going to let me go? Why would I tell you where the key is? Jack seemed to be angered by Huamin. Fine, if that's the case, then the negotiation is over. Stay here. After speaking, Huamin turned around to leave. Huamin, if I die, it won't do you any good. If I die, Wuxian will die too, Jack said anxiously. Huamin turned around and continued to chuckle. That's great. Isn't this killing 2 birds with 1 stone? Both you and Wuxian are my mortal enemies. But if we die, after a while, when his subordinates find out that something happened to the boss, they will send you down to the Yellow Springs to accompany me. Jack smiled sinisterly. Do you think I'm afraid of death? Huamin thought Jack's words were ridiculous. Of course you won't be afraid, but don't you have another one in your stomach? Do you really want your child to be burdened to death by you before he even sees the world? Huamin's expression changed slightly upon hearing this. It seemed that Wuxia and Jack's memories were indeed shared. Jack even knew about her pregnancy. From the looks of it, you're the one who's at a disadvantage. Why don't you take care of yourself? After speaking, Huamin turned around and left, without looking back. Come back, you bitch! Jack cursed crazily, but Huamin didn't look back. Was she going to starve this guy to death in the basement? No, Huamin wouldn't do that. She would bring him food on time every day and keep him alive. At least, Wuxia couldn't die yet. Huamin really didn't want to die here with him. When Huamin climbed out of the basement and breathed in the fresh air outside, she suddenly felt that it was great to be alive. After calming down, she thought of something very important. Jack was chained up in the basement, so it must be Wuxia's doing, right? But why would Wuxia do that? From what Huamin knew about him, he probably knew that his illness was about to act up and he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control his second personality, so he locked himself up in advance. If that was the case, the key definitely couldn't be in the basement to prevent Jack from escaping. Huamin knew this very well. No matter how bad Wuxia was, he wouldn't hurt her. However, Jack was different. Jack could kill her at any time without mercy. At this thought, Huamin hurried back to the cabin and began to rummage through the things Wuxia left behind. Suddenly, an old-fashioned cell phone slipped out of one of Wuxia's pockets. Huamin couldn't suppress the joy in her heart, as if she had discovered a new continent. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.